Welcome to the Irresistible You podcast. This is the place to get a dose of empowerment to create the life you crave and deserve. I'm your host, Amy Beltran, CEO and founder of Irresistible University. Through the podcast and my signature program, I teach women just like you how to ditch the body image issues, gain confidence, and lose the emotional weight to look and feel irresistible at any size. If you want to learn more about my program, head on over to irresistibleicing.com/course. There you will find more information including the cost, what's included in the program, get client testimonials, and you can sign up and enroll. Again, that link can be found in the show notes. All right, guys. So, if you are listening in real time as this is being published, you can probably tell that I'm a couple days behind. And that's what I want to talk about today because I am having a week. I am having a week. It has been really challenging. There is just unexpected things going on and it has really thrown me off track. And I want to talk about that in relation to the need for hustle culture, right? I cannot stand hustle culture. I think it's just so toxic. And I want to talk about that because this week, let me just give you a kind of a rundown. So last week, Javi, my 1.5 year old. So yes, so Javi, my baby, he came down with like a stomach virus in the middle of last week that pretty much has just finished. So it's gone on for about a week, and then over the weekend, um, my daughter, I noticed, oh wow, her blood sugar is looking really good. Like she had a really like straight line through the night. And for type 1 diabetics, we call that a unicorn line because it never stays in a straight line. It's always up and down a lot. And then the next morning, I'm like, oh, that's why she's getting sick too. She has a fever. Great. I love this for me. So she started getting sick. And luckily, she didn't get as sick as Javi. She seems to be fine now. And it's spring break for her this week anyway. So that's good. And then I have been up. I feel like I have a newborn again because Chewy, my 12-year-old Chihuahua, he's been waking up like every 1 to 2 hours in the middle of the night to go pee. And for those of you that like know, he had surgery about a month ago to have his spleen and a mass on his spleen removed, which everything came back benign. I am so blessed, so grateful for that. But now we're dealing with this. So they think that he has a urinary tract infection. We've got him started on medication. Telling you all of this to say it has been a shitstorm of a week. I'm dealing with all three of my children have some kind of sickness or need, and it's just been a lot. And so, on top of that, I have two massive client projects that I've been working on behind the scenes, which have been taking up a ton of time. Our schedule, or my husband's schedule, should I say, just changed. So that has thrown things off. And so I am not at my optimum performance level, if you will. This week, it's a little bit of survival mode, if I'm being honest. And for those of you that have been listening for a long time, you know that most of 2021 for me was survival mode. There was so much that happened. And I don't want survival mode to be the go-to thing or like where I always am. But sometimes these things in life, like we can't control our kids getting sick or our pets or, client projects and things like that that just land in our plate that we have to get to. So, why I want to share this with you guys and the way it relates back to hustle culture is when you're having a week and you're having a shitstorm of a week, the best thing that you can do is to just meet yourself where you are. If you can learn, sorry, I'm a little out of breath because I'm not feeling the best either, and it's whatever was going around. My husband and I both got it. Anyway, you have to learn how to meet yourself where you are. If you can learn how to meet yourself where you are, it will take you out of the anxiety and the stress and the pressure that you feel that you need to hustle your way through shit when you're going through it. I feel like hustle, there's a time and a place for that, but we just like we can't always be in survival mode, we cannot always be in hustle mode. I think hustle mode is extremely toxic, but I also think there's times and places where it's necessary to get us to jump over to the next mountain, if you will. Like there's times where we have to hustle to get something done, but we cannot live in hustle mode and we cannot live in survival mode. And so the best thing for you to do when you're going through that is you just have to meet yourself where you are. You have to, in a way, lower your expectations and set like a minimum, like set a new bare minimum for yourself. Okay. And I know for so many of you, like you hear this and you're like, because so many of you that listen are all or nothing. You're perfectionist. I get it. I'm a recovering one myself. But what is going to help you drop the all or nothing thinking and drop the perfectionist thinking is to lower your expectations based on what's going on in your life. If I look at this week, yes, I have things that have to get done. I have people that have to be taken care of, but there are certain things that I'm going to have to let go in order to do that. And what you have to do is stop associating yourself with being a failure because you're dealing with extra stuff on your plate. You're not a failure for doing that. We cannot be and we should not be perfect, right? And for so many of you, it's like, well, if I can't eat perfectly every day and if I can't exercise and work out, then I've just thrown in the towel and I've given up. It's like, no, we need to learn how to manage our emotions. We need to learn how to meet ourselves where we are so that we don't beat ourselves up when we're not at our optimum level of performance in life. Because let's face it, we're not, oh my God, I'm like so out of breath. We're not always going to be there. Right? And so letting go of this need, this self-imposed need to hustle your way through sicknesses. I mean, how many times do we tell ourselves, well, I can't afford to take a day off. I can't do that. I can't do this. I can't. It's like, slow down. Everything will be better. It will pass in time. We will get through it. It was even like the podcast, like I just wasn't feeling excited about any of the topics that I have in my topic bank because I'm not in the headspace this week to embody some of those topics. Like I'm not passionate about talking about those things this week because of where my head is at. And so for a minute I was like, well, I'm just not going to have an episode this week at all. And I was like, well, no, we can't let our listeners down because we're having a bad week. So how can I take what's going on for me and turn it around in a way that they can understand and learn from? And so that's why I wanted to share that with you guys. So, I don't feel this is my best episode. I wasn't fully prepared. I just wanted to get on here and just talk and share that with you guys because the only one that is talking shit and making you feel guilty and making you feel shameful, the only one that's doing that is you. And if there's an actual other person that's doing that, well, then that's a whole other conversation. But all of that guilt, all of that shame, all of that shoulding all over yourself, like, that's you, boo. You're the one creating that. You're the one creating these bullshit expectations that do not match where you are right now in your life. And then you expect for you to be, doing X, Y, and Z when you have all these other things going on. And I think I had talked about it on episode 154 actually last week about how to create realistic priorities, specifically for weight loss. But it's like, you need to create realistic priorities in your life, period. For me this week, with everything that's going on, it's not realistic for me to like be glam to the nines every single day. It's not realistic for me every day to like, be doing all the things that I know I need to be doing to keep myself healthy and in check. It also doesn't mean we're going off the rails and we're binge eating through life, because we're not doing that shit either. So it's just like you have to adjust. I feel like this is, as you go through life, I think you have to constantly be adjusting your expectations based on where you are. And that's why people talk a lot about, oh, how do you have work-life balance? How does that work? And it's like, well, it really doesn't, honestly, because something or some things are always going to have more priority than something else, you know? Um, and if you try to truly be balanced in the literal sense, you're going to be stretched too thin and you're not going to be good to anyone. You know what I mean? So it's like, let's just tone down this I have to hustle, I have to, I always have to be working my ass off and hustling hard. It's like, yeah, we need to do that in certain times. And that's what I'm talking about. Where like sometimes you need to turn that shit up, right? Because you have a deadline or you have a goal or you have something that you need to accomplish, then it's time to turn on a little bit of hustle. And there's other times, like for me right now, my kids are sick. I've got massive client projects with deadlines attached to them. It's time to turn down the high expectations that everything is going to get done perfectly, because it's not, you know? So it's like always adjusting. We need to always be like adjusting our levels to where we are. And when you learn how to meet yourself where you are, you're going to stop the inner fat bitch, beat down. You're going to stop the inner fat bitch guilt and shame cycle. Oh, I should be doing this. I should be doing that. I shouldn't be doing this. I really need to find time for that. And it's like, whoa, like let's slow down. Because the thing is, whatever the things are that you have to do or that you're going through that you weren't expecting, those things are going to pass and it's going to get easier and it's going to clear, right? So I don't know what else to say about that. I feel like that's really it. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet this week because I got stuff to do. I gotta get back to some things. I will be back on later this week, either tomorrow or the next day, with our 10 pounds 10 times series that is still continuing. And I have something very interesting to share with you guys about the weight loss journey this week, among the chaos, right? So let's talk about weight loss during chaos. We will cover that in the next episode of 10 pounds 10 times, which will be coming up very soon. So on that note, I hope you guys are doing well. As always, you can find me over on Instagram at Irresistible Icing or in the Irresistible You podcast group on Facebook. And if this podcast has helped you in any type of way, please head over to iTunes or the podcast player of your choice and leave me a lovely rating and review, because I do love to read those and I read every single one. So let's have an amazing week. What's left of it. I will talk to you guys soon. Until then, stay irresistible. Bye.